case is getting a fresh look because of the pedophile priest scandal. Channel 3 News reporter Tom Barris found attorney Bob Housel charging the church and the Catholic former county prosecutor conspired to go after him instead of a wayward priest.
This is the sole worst thing that has ever happened to me, not only as a lawyer but as a human being. And to this day, and now that of course it's been resurrected after about 16 years of trying to put it out of my mind, it still comes back to haunt me.
Lawyer Bob Housel is not the victim of a sexually abusive priest, but he claims he's the victim of an abuse of power by diocesan decision-makers who got former prosecutor John T. Corrigan to target him instead of going after a misbehaving priest because of
his relationship with Bishop Hill in the diocese, because of his closeness to the church. He felt it easy enough to look the other way.
Housel, himself a former prosecutor, was charged with extortion, trying to shake down the church, indicted by his old boss Corrigan, who sat in the prosecutor's chair 35 years.
Why he did this to me, I don't know. But I certainly think he did it to me to protect the priest and to do the biddings of the Diocese of Cleveland.
Housel represented an Avon Lake couple who belonged to St. Joseph Church. The woman claims a former assistant pastor here took advantage of her while she was seeking guidance to salvage a troubled marriage, like a psychiatrist getting sexually involved with a patient who could not resist 7 separate times.
And during the course of the counseling, the priest foisted himself upon her and achieved sexual gratification by illicitly touching her. And there's no question in my mind that there was criminal activity.
Housel and his clients thought the church should pay for counseling and damages because
the actions took place while the priest had his collar on. They took place outside the confessional. They took place in the church's sacristy. They took place in the rectory.
But the diocese argued only the priest was to blame, claiming this involved consenting adults.
He was on a frolic of his own. Nobody ever really did anything. All they did was listen.
Housel raised the stakes, warning the diocese's legal point man, Father John Wright, there could be a lawsuit, a scandal, and criminal charges. But $250,000 could prevent that. Later, the figure dropped to $50,000.
I did what any lawyer would have done under the circumstances. I explained what I understood the conduct to be and said that my clients were interested in settling this in some reasonable fashion.
Father Wright went to see prosecutor John T. Corrigan. After that meeting, Corrigan had Cleveland police secretly videotape another meeting set up at the diocese. Housel charges it was a setup.
And Father Wright was encouraging me to say what my case was about, encouraging me to say how much money we wanted to settle it. They really kind of entrapped me.
And Housel's certain top church leaders, Bishops Quinn and Pilla, were in the loop about everything.
Quinn was aware, Pilla was aware, no question about it.
Corrigan got a grand jury to indict Housel, but at the trial, the judge heard the prosecution's case, decided there was no crime, and tossed the charge out. Both assistant prosecutors who tried this told me it was strictly Corrigan's call. Assistant prosecutor Carmen Marino, it's probably a case that should never have been brought. Lawyers sympathetic to Housel charge he was meant to be an example, to scare other lawyers with cases against the church.
You know, it's a difficult proposition to take on one of the most powerful entities in the world, and that proposition becomes all the more difficult if lawyers are fearful of being indicted.
We can't get John T. Corrigan's side. He's fighting a losing battle with Alzheimer's disease in the Sandusky Veterans Home.
He is a devout Catholic. He knows Bishop Pilla. He knows Bishop Quinn.
But Judge Michael Corrigan, speaking in defense of his dad, claiming his father went after Housel based on the facts, not his faith.
His comments to me were along the lines of some people worship at the altar of the almighty dollar. And they forget about, and they're blinded by green. There was no one in my dad's mind's eye that was immune from prosecution, including me, including my mother, if we did something that was inappropriate.
All priests and religious did not get immunity from Corrigan. He prosecuted several, including this man, Brother Paul Body of St. Joseph's High School. He molested students. Michael Corrigan thinks Housel should move on.
I'm a little bit confused and a little bit angry to hear people make allegations against a man, as you know, cannot currently defend himself. 16 years later, now he's complaining about the manner within which he's treated. It just smells.
But with new revelations about church cover-ups and hardball legal tactics, Housel's revisiting the past and may try to turn the legal tables.
I think it absolutely puts the case in the light.
Housel's ordeal took a personal toll.
I don't practice Catholicism anymore. That's directly attributable to this.
He's reopening old wounds, but Bob Housel thinks there's still a score to settle.
To my knowledge, it's never happened to any other lawyer but me.
In Cleveland, Tom Barris, Channel 3 News.
Well, no one from the diocese would talk on camera, but a spokesman issued this statement. The underlying incident involved an allegation of inappropriate conduct between two adults, including one priest. The investigation that ensued resulted in an indictment, public trial, and widespread media coverage. All that is a matter of public record, end quote. We could not locate a copy of the videotape involved here. Housel had this case cleared from his record.
In other news tonight, a serious